Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Harvey Levin here.
Fabian here.
Cache McClay.
So, Amber Heard is having a rough go of it.
Yes, she is.
She is having a rough go of it in court. We will see what happens when she puts on her case. But
Right.
right now, I got to say, the testimony of this LAPD cop who came to that penthouse and looked at her and said, I don't see any bruises. I don't see any evidence of domestic violence.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, these photos surface that she supposedly has a bruise.
Yeah.
The cop is saying, I didn't see a bruise. And this seems to dovetail with the argument that was made earlier that maybe she created that. I mean, that seems to be what they're
That's what Johnny
intimating.
Depp has been claiming all along. And by the way, this LAPD officer, I don't know how much of a difference this makes. It kind of stood out to me that she's
a woman. Yeah,
she's a woman,
I think
which
it
makes a difference.
I think that matters.
And you know, you kind of have to take
why does that matter?
I think it matters because
it's more credible in my opinion. Like a woman seeing another woman as opposed to a man. You know, people will make that judgment, like, oh, a man, of course he wouldn't see something, but it's a female cop, which makes a difference.
I agree with that to some extent, but I also think just in terms of understanding domestic violence and what women have gone through over years.
Yeah, you would imagine that
a heightened sensitivity.
Yeah, you would figure, you know, a cop has to be objective no matter what. But you would figure that if there was in fact domestic violence and it was a female cop, she would be more seemingly prone or kind of
attuned.
That's the right word. Yeah.
So, look, this is going to take twists and turns, but I don't know. When you look at like the cigarette issue, listen to what happened in court yesterday, because I think the cigarette issue is really interesting.
Go put your fucking cigarettes out on someone else. You fucking have consequences for your actions. That's it.
Shut up, fat ass.
Yeah, you got me there.
But this is not love. This is not happiness. This is not.
Please stop doing this. Please, you're causing me so much fucking stress. I'm gonna die at this age. I'm gonna fucking die. You're causing me so much stress. Please stop. I feel like I have heart attacks almost every day. Please stop. Please stop doing it. Please stop. He's so fucking mean.
Why are you with me?
Bully. Stop. Please, you're killing me with this. You're killing me.
I want you to just go. I want you to take your medicine or whatever. I'm sorry that I've upset you this much.
Thank you, Sean. I'm ready to go. Thank you so much.
So that second audio clip is obviously way more disturbing than the first. The first audio clip is Amber Heard, and look, they were both recording each other this entire time. They were both trying to catch the other person admitting to doing wrongdoing. So far, Johnny Depp is winning that battle because he seems to have her on tape admitting to hitting him, admitting to picking a fight, and also this whole, like, you know, tell the world that you're a DV victim, let's see who they believe. Here, Amber Heard appears to be trying to catch Johnny Depp admitting to putting a cigarette out on her. He does not do that. He calls her a fat ass, that's mean, whatever. But he didn't admit to putting out a cigarette on her. He even denied it on the stand and said, I didn't do that. This is more just exaggeration on her part. And that second clip is him recording another fight they had and her just hysterically breaking down. And he, as you hear him, he's trying to leave. If you listen to that full audio, I listened to it in court. He was trying to leave. He's like, I'm leaving. This is nuts. I can't do this. You got to settle down. This is what he says he was doing all the time, trying to leave fights. She would desperately try to prevent him. And you hear that here, like she's desperately trying to prevent him from leaving. And this just goes, and look, you're right. This doesn't make Amber Heard look good. Another thing that we haven't talked about and a sound that I would love to play, I don't think we have, Johnny Depp's team hired a forensic psychologist to study Amber Heard, and she did in fact evaluate her. And she sort of diagnosed her with two different personality disorders, borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. She also said that she believes she was exaggerating symptoms of PTSD. She said Amber Heard is full of rage and that she's kind of shallow and she's sort of I don't know. She sort of depicted her as a bit of a sociopath, frankly. That's what Dr. Curry did on the stand yesterday. And it thus far has been damning. I mean, it's been very damning for Amber Heard.
I mean, to go back to the sort of the bruises claim, I think the cops claim on the stand is going to be very, very vital, especially coming off the makeup.
Yeah.
Because when they said they didn't have the makeup, that whole discrepancy, and now you're having the cops say there were no bruises. I think for the jury, that could be a lot of what they need.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look.
Sorry, that was a lot of talking. Go ahead, Harvey. What do you think?
Well, I mean, look, no. I mean, you're right.
Me?
From me, no. My bad. From me. I'm the one who's over talking here.
Look, you're right. You're right about, I think, the way the trial is going. But I do think that there is a point here that's special. When you have two people who are in this terrible relationship like this,
Toxic.
it's one thing when they get on the stand and they testify and a jury is evaluating the essence of the case, which is credibility.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is different when both of the people are actors.
Yeah.
It is different when both of the people are actors because they are professional actors at a very high level. And I think what the jury has to do is unpeel that onion and start to, figure out what's theatrics, what is the truth, what isn't the truth, who's performing on the stand, who's telling the truth in the stand. There's a layer that you don't get with non-actors when you've got two accomplished actors like this on the stand. And, look, I think that because they're actors, it hurts a little bit more when they secretly record.
Yeah.
Because when they're secretly recording, like you said, they're trying to trap the other person.
Right.
So here's what I'm going to say. Let's see if you bite.
Right.
And that's not necessarily grounded in truth. That's what they want to hear. So if I say to you, why did you just hit me in the arm? And I didn't.
Right.
Do you need to answer me or can you ignore it?
You can ignore it.
No, you can't. Not if you know you're going to go to court.
Right.
But do you think during this time they especially? Well, I mean,
Why are they recording?
I don't know.
I mean, that's the
why
point.
are they doing?
There's a reason they're recording, and there's an easy answer to why they're recording. They're trying to trap each other.
Yeah, it seems that even before Amber Heard went and got a TRO against him in 2016, when these DV allegations first surfaced, it seems that even before that, they both suspected the other person was going to try to make claims. So you're right, they were trying to sabotage each other. Look, Johnny Depp has been on the stand. All of these witnesses are his witnesses thus far. And I know Amber Heard's team has played audio recordings that they want in evidence, but she hasn't been on the stand. I don't think they've brought out any witnesses for her. I'm curious to see when that happens and how that kind of plays out.
It's going to be fascinating.
Because thus far,
I
would argue that the trial is skewed in Johnny's favor a little bit.
And it might tilt when she starts talking.
You're right. It might, for sure.
And, it tilts one way, and then in cross-examination, it tilts we will see.
Yeah.
Speaking of trials.
Yes.
Yeah. I got to say, Blac Chyna, the more you hear this case, to me, the more it's like, why, if Kris Jenner did everything that Blac Chyna said, which is to torpedo the show,
right?
I think the jury could say, I believe Blac Chyna that Kris Jenner did try to torpedo the show, did try to kill the show. Judgment for the Kardashians. And I say that because when you look at Corey Gamble getting on the stand yesterday and saying that I saw her throw things at Rob.
Basically chasing Rob out of the house.
Chasing him out of the house.
Right.
And then you've got, other testimony from the Kardashians saying that she was violent.
The same thing,
It's like, if you are the mother of this kid, of Rob Kardashian, of course, and the business manager and the person who probably sold that show.
Right.
It's like, screw the show. I want it canceled because she's violent toward my kid.
Yeah.
But they're not saying that. They're trying to say they didn't get
I know.
canceled.
I know what they're saying. But what I'm saying is, I think at this point, I think at this point you can accept everything Blac Chyna is saying, that the Kardashians tried to torpedo the show
and had every right to,
and the Kardashians still win the case.
It's interesting. I would agree with you, but I think the Kardashians are worried because they've been hearing all this testimony, and it sounds like it was a volatile relationship, and a lot of it sounds like it might have been started by Chyna herself. But Chyna, and
of course, from the Kardashians,
right? From the Kardashians, and but either way, like Chyna's been on the stand, she's been emotional, and yesterday we did a story. The Kardashians and their legal team filed a request for the judge to essentially dismiss the charges and just basically not take the case out of the jury's hands, issue some kind of summary judgment, and just dismiss her case entirely because their lawyers, the Kardashians' lawyer, claimed Chyna's been up here. She hasn't offered any substantial evidence to back her claims. It's basically just been her own testimony.
This is a very routine thing, by the way.
So, yeah, but isn't that telling that if the Kardashians want it out of the jury's hands, don't they think they might be afraid that the jury will side with Chyna based on just emotion or something?
It's very common in these cases that you ask for a dismissal based on a failure to prove evidence. That's just a legal maneuver.
It's a routine sort of thing. So it's not telling of like.
I have a question though. So yesterday in court, Kim Kardashian and Khloe testified, and so some alleged emails and text messages came out, and in one of them, alleged emails from Khloe that she didn't deny sending, literally said, "We are even considering not moving forward with our show if theirs continue." Now, of course, Khloe said like we were talking about their relationship, but if they have this in writing, isn't that enough?
No, I think let's say
it sounds bad.
Well, I think that's fine. It's like, yeah, we want that show canceled because she's violent toward Rob Kardashian. And it's like, why can't they do that? It's like, accept everything Blac Chyna is saying is true. Take that email and say, yes, they said that. Yeah. Yes, they threatened to pull the plug on their show if they didn't cancel that show. Well, so what?
But Blac Chyna is saying
why can't they do it?
She was not violent. That they might have had a volatile relationship together, but they have to prove that she's violent. So they're bringing up her ex or Tyga, and it's just like, how does that translate?
No, hold on. That's just wrong. That's just wrong.
What is wrong?
They brought Corey Gamble up on the stand yesterday, who said, I watched her throw things.
Wait, what is wrong? Sorry, can you clarify?
When you said it's all hearsay.
No, I didn't say it's hearsay. I said they could both, like, I don't know that they
had witnesses. They had eyewitnesses. You have an eyewitness in Corey Gamble. It's not just, hey, I heard that he did it.
But some of it was hearsay.
What? Fine.
Tyga said she did this to me.
Right.
But
and
so it's like,
but Corey Gamble said, I walked in and I watched her get violent toward Rob.
Right. So that's
but she could argue something like, but I'm saying like that doesn't mean that every instance it was just Blac Chyna being the aggressor.
Right. Here's the thing. One time somebody gets violent toward your son, you say, screw you. And if there's a television show and half of it is Rob, and Chris is the business manager, and she says, I am worried about my son,
safety,
and I'm worried about my granddaughter, and I want the show canceled, I think the jury's going to say, well, good for you, you're a good mom.
So you don't think Blac Chyna has a case, even if this were true?
I'm saying you accept everything Blac Chyna says, and I could see the jury saying, Kris Jenner should have done this. It would have been irresponsible for her to sit back, allow her, because think about this, and this is what I think the lawyer is going to do at the end, or should do, I think. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, think about what would have happened if this show continued and the violence escalated and something really bad happened to Rob or, God forbid, Dream. How would people react to the Kardashians not stepping in the face of what they saw? How would people feel about that? And, and it's true that, when really bad things happen, you always blame the person supervising for not being vigilant enough.
No, and I hear your point, Harvey, but I think, and this is speculation, the problem that is like Rob didn't necessarily think so. So he has yet to talk and say these things, but a lot of videos he wanted to say, Kylie has said, like, I tried to warn Rob, but it's ultimately up to him. And there's videos of him wanting to be with Blac Chyna and wanting to stay. So I think they might have an issue if he's not testifying and saying these harsh claims.
This is sort of like, if you accept all of this and believe that she was violent toward him, he becomes a domestic violence victim. And domestic violence victims, typically, a lot of them do not leave. In fact, they try to excuse and justify and explain.
Usually the tables are turned, and that applies to women.
It's usually women.
Right, but now
if it's a Johnny...
You know what I mean?
It's so funny. There's so many parallels between Johnny Depp and...
Yeah, but if it's a Johnny Depp situation, then what? If they're both sort of the toxic in a relationship, then what?
What did Rob do?
What do you mean?
What did Rob get violent toward her?
That's what she claimed.
He posted her
That's
nudes,
what she claimed.
No, but that's not violent.
I know. It's different.
Well, that's what Blac Chyna said.
When did she say he had?
Well, mainly the news is what she's upset about. Like she said, it triggers her. She
right. But when did she say that he hit her?
Never, I don't think.
I don't think she said he hit her.
But you just said that she made the same claim.
No, I said if it were a Johnny Depp situation where they both were toxic, then what?
Well, if they're both toxic, then the mother says, all the more reason cancel the show. It's like
she has the power to do that.
Well, that's what Blac Chyna's saying.
No, but I'm saying, so you think that their lawyers can argue that Kris Jenner is from the outside saying, I'm the mom, they're both toxic, cancel it.
Yeah.
and that's fine.
We'll see, obviously. The last thing I'll say about this is that I think the showrunners themselves have testified that the two of them were not able to be in the same room together at a certain point. And they're like, we just can't make a show if they're not interacting. We will see what the jury decides.
Let's talk about Viola Davis for a second, because I know you have strong feelings about this. I don't get it. I love her as an actress. I
do as well.
And I think everybody does. She's just a phenomenal
She's
actress.
Objectively a fantastic actress. Everybody knows that. She's got an Oscar and Golden Globes to prove
Without
it.
question.
And yes, so, I mean, there's no question about Viola Davis' talent.
So, you look at what she's done here, where critics have said she didn't do a good job portraying Michelle
Amateur
Obama.
critics and professional critics.
Okay, so let's just for a second say that's true.
Okay.
And she seems to be acknowledging, not my best performance.
Right.
So that all said, it feels to me like Viola Davis is so good, she's never experienced the sting of harsh criticism.
I think that's a fair argument to make. She's been, like you said, she's been upper echelon of acting for so long and has gotten rave reviews forever. And this time she's not. It's harsh criticism, and especially on Twitter. People are being mean and they're making jokes and they're saying that she's being over exaggerative with her facial expressions. And like you say, on the one hand, Viola Davis seems to be acknowledging, like, oh, critics are useless. They think they're telling you something that you don't already know. Her saying that makes it seem like she is somewhat aware that either the performance is not going to be well received or maybe it's not her best performance. That's kind of how I read that. And yet, in the same breath, she seems to be sort of resentful and kind of angry at the critics and kind of like...
Not sort of.
Yeah, I mean, not sort of, you're right. She very much so is.
I have to disagree with you guys. I don't think she is angry at all. I think she's basically saying... I think if she were angry, I think it would be more evident. I mean, she's basically just saying she already kind of knows this wasn't her best bet. Like, the critics are saying something she doesn't know, but it doesn't come off as anger to me.
She called them useless. I mean,
useless
critics are not useless.
Absolutely serve
totally
no
are.
purpose, and I'm not saying that to be nasty either. They always feel like they're telling you something that you don't know, somehow that you're living a life, that you're surrounded by people who lie to you, and I'm going to be the person that leans in and tells you the truth. So it gives them an opportunity to be cruel to you. She's upset.
She sounds hurt. She sounds hurt to me. She sounds like, I know I didn't do my best. I kind of don't need useless, cruel comments to come at me. And we asked about it. I mean, that's her response. I don't see it as anger, saying I don't need to hear. I hate critics.
I take that as, I mean, look, the cruel factor that she's mentioning, it's not from professional critics. If you go and look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and from professional critics, they're very objective and they just say, look, we don't think it's her best performance, whatever. They're way more eloquent than the people on Twitter. If you went on Twitter, when I wrote the story that weekend, it was trending that weekend. I was going through all the comments. People were being mean, joking, cruel. I mean, however you want to take it, but they were not taking. They weren't pulling any punches. You know what I mean? And that's why I thought it was such a big deal. I was like, wow.
She didn't distinguish between professional critics and trolls.
You're right. She didn't. But I think when she's getting to the cruelty aspect, I think she is aware of the trends and the Twitter people that made these comments. Those are where the jokes are coming in. The cruelty is not from the professional critics. I think she's conflating both.
I agree.
She's conflating, but she should separate the both. She should separate them. And I just think that, look, like, I haven't watched the show, so I can't really weigh in one way or another. From clips that I've seen, it doesn't seem like it's her best performance. That's just my vibe. I don't know.
But she even said it. And look, I mean, I've had interactions with celebrities where they've been looking at comments and everything else, and they kind of ask for a few of them have asked for my advice. And what do you do?
Because it gets to them.
Well, you know what I say?
What?
Don't read this.
That's a good point.
No, but I really mean that. I really, really mean that.
Right.
You can take the most hardened person and then they look at what people write about them on, social media, and it hurts. It always hurts.
Always, yeah. And people suck.
and people are doing this on social media to deliberately wound.
Yeah.
And that's why I just think, it's a good idea not to read that crap.
Right. And on the other hand, I was just going to say, like, if you are putting out a public performance, which she obviously is, it's going to be received. It's not always going to be
received. But don't read it. Just don't read
exactly.
it. If you want to read the professional critics, that's fine.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, Gene Shalit. You guys probably don't even remember.
I don't know who the hell that is.
I know.
I'm gonna look it up.
God. I mean,
some guy from the 70s or something. Or, I don't know.
Am I just too old to do that?
No, you can go ahead.
No. We need this knowledge. We need this historical knowledge.
No, yeah, we want to hear.
We need the historical context.
I'm not sure anymore.
No, we do. You're a historian, so please lay it on us.
I'm a historian.
Who's Gene Shalit?
Wait, historian is code, isn't it?
No, it's not.
It
is.
We need this context. Lay it on us. What is it?
Gene Shalit was a movie critic on the Today Show for many, many years. He was the guy with the big mustache and the curly hair.
I know who that is.
He was a big star on the Today Show.
Right.
His movie reviews were just biting. And you know what he had a great mastery of the English language.
Okay.
And he could just sear with his words.
Yeah.
And he did.
Okay.
And it was honestly sort of like social media. I mean, the things he said about an actor's performance when it wasn't good, it was hilarious.
Right.
But that was me watching it, as a young guy. And I never really thought about how it would affect the actor.
Right.
And looking back, it must really hurt.
I'm sure it does.
It's national television and was a huge platform.
Right.
And he would just he just bore in.
Right.
And I mean, it was as mean, but he did it in a really clever, smart, funny way.
Right.
Yeah.
But it must have hurt back then too.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering though, if Viola didn't play this role, who would have been a better?
I don't know. I've heard different. I don't know. I can't name specific actresses. I mean, to me, Viola Davis doesn't really look much like Michelle Obama.
I don't think she did that bad. I mean, I get the criticism of the people, the lips, but I don't think it was a bad performance.
Well, she didn't. She wasn't crazy about it.
Yeah, and
I mean, especially now, she can't say, "Yeah, that was my best," and everybody.
The one thing I'll say in Viola Davis's defense is she gave a good faith effort. That much she's made clear. She didn't want to go and embarrass Michelle Obama, and she wasn't trying to like make a mockery of her at all.
No,
so I know Viola Davis gave it her best effort. She has said that. And I would the best if honestly, like it would be awesome, sort of like crazy if Michelle Obama herself came out, because this is
I wondered that
if she came out and defended Viola Davis, said, I love it, she killed it. It was that would be that would shut everybody up.
On the other hand, if she said, "What's the lip thing about?"
She would
that would be
That
hilarious.
would be bad.
That'd be hilarious. You're right. She would never do that.
Okay, we're gonna end with this.
Okay.
I'm taking my metaphoric hat off.
Okay.
To Bhad Bhabie.
Oh, okay.
I just cannot believe
how much money she's
made.
It's
insane
that a juvenile delinquent, which she was at 15.
Yeah, she was.
That a juvenile delinquent who went on a show on Dr. Phil because she was out of control, is now a multi-millionaire.
Not even from her reality TV stuff that she's been doing. I mean, she's probably made
from music, OnlyFans, and what she
mostly
did,
OnlyFans.
And by the way, and what she did on OnlyFans, and a lot of people say, "Oh, well, she must have been taking her clothes." She wasn't. She wasn't.
What was she
naked.
doing? Just bikini or lingerie stuff? Like, okay,
right. But the fact that she has made $53 million off of this thing,
and she showed the evidence,
and
she showed the photos. She's got the receipts.
She's got the receipts, and and look, maybe people say, "Oh, God, doing OnlyFans, blah blah blah," but what's the difference really between? And I mean, maybe that's unfair to say, but I was going to say, what's the difference between that and how Kim Kardashian started? It's what you do once you get that break, what opportunities you seize, and she's done better than most.
Yeah, I mean, on the OnlyFans thing, here's what I'll say: it's a lucrative business. It's very lucrative. I don't want to spill too much of my personal life, but like, no. I'm not trying to suggest I am not on OnlyFans. I should just say that. I know people who are around people that dabble in OnlyFans.
I know people who are around people who dabble. Wow.
Well, the point is that I know it's lucrative. It's a moneymaker.
But
and
where's the butt?
We all know it's
Where's
lucrative.
the butt?
For me, I mean, like I sort of see it as like the same way I sort of see porn people. Like it's sort of unbecoming to me, and it's sort of like cringe, and like I can never be with anybody who was ever involved in OnlyFans. That's just me. But I'll admit this: it's lucrative. It's a good business move, and especially in this day and age where like people are kind of reconsidering how they see sex work. It's very embraced now. It's seen as very like, oh, good for you, like hell yeah, like whore yourself, all this stuff. It's like I don't get it, but whatever. That's
Wait,
where,
what did you just say?
that's where society is.
You said that.
Okay,
that's where society is, and that's fine. And for Bhad Bhabie, I don't, I guess, necessarily approve, but make your money, I guess. It's America, capitalism. And I'm behind capitalism, so make your money, I suppose.
So to be honest, I don't think there's a huge difference between her and Kim Kardashian. I think enough time just hasn't passed for her. But I also think their problem, I guess, or concern with her initially was that not only did she start on Dr. Phil, like, okay, that's one thing, but then she continued to be problematic on social media, sort of saying fiery comments and just sort of,
blackfishing.
Sort of like going all out. And now she's just continued to like still have that attitude and work her way up. So I guess we'll see what she does as she gets older.
Right.
But
the amount of wealth she has amassed is just astounding. And I guess good for her is what we can really say.
That's all you can say.
Most people don't succeed at that level,
right?
At least financially.
That young.
And now you see what happens. She's 19 years old?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yes, it is.
You know what? And one other thing. Okay. It's like this is the year of surprise that, I'm looking at her thinking, I never would have guessed that she would turn this into anything.
Really?
Yeah.
She's been. I don't want to interrupt your train of thought, but she has been sexualized since she was a teenager, which was that's a different conversation entirely. But she has been. People have thought she's hot, big boobs, all this stuff.
No, making this kind of money and everything else.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I see a parallel there between that and Jake Paul. I thought Jake Paul was a joke.
He is a joke. But go on.
I don't think he's a joke anymore at all.
He's a joke that people are taking seriously.
We're going to save it. I think Jake Paul has changed the sport, has gotten the respect of a lot of people who didn't like him initially. I think he's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But
and they're succeeding. That's the point. They're all succeeding.
No matter what, they're succeeding.
Yeah, they're succeeding. Okay, we'll see you Friday.
See ya.